Marcus, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have a special guest. He is the author of the book Finding Eden, no other than Mr. Brad Dude.
Daniel, thank you for having me.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Brad, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Well, I have been a international management consultant for many years with companies like Westinghouse and Macro International, and did a lot of travel. Worked in 35 or so countries, usually in the developing world. And so I had a lot of time traveling, and it kind of stimulated my writing in school. I studied journalism in college, and I thought it would be a good idea to start jotting some of the things down, lessons learned along the way. My first six books were mostly about leadership. I was doing a
Yes.
lot of leadership training overseas and in the US. And more recently, because I lived a lot of my time in the Pacific Islands, got me to thinking about having a novel that would be kind of based on living on an island. And I came up with a kind of an action adventure story called Finding Eden. And
Mr. Brad Dude, thank you so much for sharing your books to the world, and we are looking forward for more and more empowering books. So, what is the central theme of Finding Eden?
well, in Finding Eden, the idea is that there are migrants, and this is all kind of based on the situation today and in the past few years of migrants from Africa and the Middle East trying to get to Europe by taking dangerous voyages on flimsy craft across the Mediterranean. And I thought it'd be interesting if they were picked up by a rescue ship and found that they had no place to go because Europe ports were closed to asylum seekers. And I had them find an uncharted island. And there are many uncharted islands today, of course, but in this story, it's uncharted. And they try to find a safe homeland on that island. Unfortunately, they run into problems.
So, Mr. Brad, what historical events or places that you revisit in the book?
Well, the plight of migrants in North Africa today usually starts in Libya. So I have the novel starting off with a rescue ship off the coast of Libya finding 100 asylum seekers in a rubber rafts. Like many of them do travel even today, trying to get to Europe. And again, they end up on this island kind of off the coast of Morocco. So it's kind of a Middle Eastern theme in terms of the settings.
So, Mr. Brad, how does the book define or reimagine the idea of Eden?
Well, the idea, of course, as the migrants themselves are searching for their own Eden, a safe place where they can be happy and raise their families, the island does not turn out at first to be that Eden because it's run by modern day pirates who put them in separate villages, Africans, Middle Eastern, and South Asians all living separately with the pirates trying to control their lives. And the story is about how they struggled together to finally overcome those pirates and find a place where everybody can live kind of in peace.
Interesting indeed, Mr. Brad. So, what inspired Hamlet's quest and how personal in this journey for him?
Well, for me personally, is because my wife's involved with immigration issues, and I certainly look back with fond memories of my uh, time living with. I was in the Peace Corps in the Marshall Islands and throughout Micronesia and Samoa, and so I wanted to have an island setting. So we kind of are merging our issues around migrants and their challenges today. And of course, it's a big topic today with America doing mass deportations of folks. So it's a timely issue today. And but I get to also enjoy writing about island living as well.
So let's talk about migration and displacement. What are some of the real life consequences of forced migration depicted in the book?
Well, in the book, what's the one of the biggest issues is uh, the separation of the migrants from a rescue boat, which would be 600 or so people, and thrown into these three separate villages on the island. And the pirates are trying to convince them, or do convince them, that each of the other villages is out to get them and hurt them. And so the pirates then become kind of the police on the island. They think the migrants believe that the pirates are trying to help them. But we have a hero, the captain of the rescue ship, and her crew do a great job of understanding the plight of the migrants and help to form a battle to free them.
Definitely interesting novel, Mr. Brad. So, how does the book connect past refugee movements to current global migration issues?
Well, because migration is issue is such an important topic all over the world, from Europe to, of course, here with the new administration dealing with mass deportation and the challenges that migrants have and asylum seekers have. I wanted to capture that in a novel to make it as timely uh, as possible. So I think readers who are interested in the topic of migrants and migration and what can be done, and isn't it the duty of all of us to try to find a safe place for our families to grow up? That's what the migrants in my story are trying to do, and there are a lot of challenges. And so, from everything from a flimsy craft in the Mediterranean to being overcrowded on a ship, to being discriminated against by pirates on an island, to having to fight for their own kind of liberty. Those are all challenges in the story that I think link to some of the challenges that all migrants have today.
So, what does the story reveal about the challenges of creating safe homeland for migrants?
Well, I think the challenge is that they face a dilemma when many of the laws of countries that they want to go to prevent them from coming in, or have kind of onerous rules and regulations. Yet they are trying to help their families, save their families by getting them away from danger. So the challenge, I think, that migrants have today, and the migrants have in my book as well, is how do we how do I ensure the safety of my family, even though I may have to break existing laws of some countries to find that safety and freedom?
So, let's talk about the narrative style and structure of the book. Mr. Brad, how does Hemley balance personal narrative and historical polity commentary?
Um, we start. In fact, I have those who pick up a copy of the book. I have two free stories that you can get through the book through a web address, and those give even more background. In fact, I narrate one of them. It's a narrative. I do an oral narration that talks about kind of how the pirates and how people first got to that uncharted island, and it just makes it a little bit more clear to the story, I think. And the other one is about the challenges of going through the Sahara Desert for migrants, on the challenges they face to get to Libya, to get on a boat to try to get to Europe. So historically, when I was doing the research for the book, I found that that's exactly what a lot of them have to do. So I took a lot of the story directly from news reports and stories about the challenges of traveling through the desert and of the overcrowded craft that takes people across the Mediterranean. So I tried to make it as historically accurate as I could, yet make it a novel with a kind of a happy ending as well.
So, Mr. Brad, how did you use humor or irony to engage readers on such a serious topic?
Uh, for the humor, I have two two teenagers, brother and sister, uh, from West Africa, who are trying to get to Europe for their education purposes. They're not asylum seekers, and many folks who want to get ahead, many migrants who wish to improve their education, get better jobs, they make that trip as well. So uh, there is humor between the brother and sister as they uh, pursue their efforts to get on the ship and get to Europe. Unfortunately, they don't make it to Europe. They only get to this island. But also on the island, I have one of the pirates, the cook, who doesn't look at himself as really a pirate. He feels kind of trapped by his own situation there. And he's the head cook for all the pirates. And he befriends several of the migrants. And he's a funny guy who makes fun of himself and the women. Most of the crew and the to start off the story that get kidnapped by these pirates are women, and he has a great funny relationship with them too. So I do have a lot of sprinkle a lot of humor throughout the book, so it's not you know all too sad.
So, how does the book use storytelling to humanize the global refugee crisis?
Well, I think the way I tried to do it was to um, spend time developing the characters of the migrants on the boat, rescue boat to start with, and it's interesting, I think, with them because there are Africans and there are Arabs as well as Pakistanis and other South Asians all together, and so we get to learn about them, and then you see how well they interact together at the beginning of the book until they're separated forcibly by the pirates when they get to the island, and they're upset about that because they like each other, and so I think that that humanizes, I think, the folks a lot more.
Certainly, Mr. Brad. So, what will be your advice for those people out there who want to write their books
For new authors,
for the new authors? Yes.
well, certainly, I benefited a lot from doing research on the topic. So it's even though if they're writing fiction, we know it's not real, but you want to make it as close to being as real as possible. So I think a lot of good research is necessary, and I think they need to have a good editor, not a family member who will appreciate them because they love them, but a more objective editor can look and kind of question what you mean by a paragraph or what you mean by a chapter, and helps you kind of organize your thinking a little bit more. So I benefited a lot from the research and the editing as I did my novel, especially.
Certainly. So, what will be your short term and long term goals in writing?
Oh, long-term goals. I enjoy writing, a lot of different kinds of writing. In fact, I'm working on film screenplay of Finding Eden right now. So I think it has a lot of various uses of this story. I think it would make a good movie as well as a novel. And so I'm working on that, as well as continuing to write nonfiction as well. I really think leadership and self awareness for leaders today is very important. I've written 6 books on that topic as well, and I probably will continue doing that.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Brad, and thank you for your advice.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the social, political, and ethical reflections of the book. What does the book suggest about the responsibilities of nations toward migrants?
Um, well, I think what my book will show is that nations have shut their doors on migrants. And so Finding Eden is all about the struggle to get around those rules and regulations. And ethically, it brings up the issue of what's the responsibility of a parent today who believes that their families are endangered by remaining in their home countries. Do they have a responsibility to get out and find a safe place to live? Or are they supposed to stay where they are and just fight it out and try to survive? My book says they make a move. If they have to make a move, you have to make a move no matter what the national fences that are put up in your way. So I think that's the ethics side is more on the personal, on the individual, and the challenge for nations is to look at the plight of such people and know that they're contributing to that by putting up these rules and regulations that are preventing them from finding a safe homeland.
Very well said, Mr. Brad. Very well said. So, how does Finding Eden critique the failures of international systems to protect refugees?
How does it?
Yes, failures of international systems
Well,
to protect the refugees.
yeah. Well, that is kind of the driving force in Finding Eden, is the fact that European ports have and countries have closed their borders. In my story, of course, each country is different today, um, and I don't know the rules of every country in Europe. But in my story, we have European ports closed at this particular time, which is a driving force for the migrants to find a new place or face deportation. In fact, the rescue ship, learning that the European ports are closed, are told to go to the nearest port and unload their uh, uh, migrant passengers for deportation. And that means usually staying in a camp, a detention camp, for a long period of time before they are deported. The passengers aboard the rescue ship in Finding Eden do not want to do that. And that then is a driving force to make them make some decisions about where to go. And they would rather go to an uncharted island rather than face deportation back to their home countries.
So, Mr. Brad, what ethical questions arise in the pursuit of creating a homeland for displaced people?
Well, I think it brings up the ethical dilemma of what should we do? What should nations do? The U.S. Right now is not welcoming to migrants, uh, and ethically, they have a responsibility. Administration of the United States has a responsibility to protect its border. Every country can do that. So, how do we protect our border? Yet, how do we help people find a safe homeland? It requires, I think, speaking as an American, it requires us to think about what we should do and how should we do it in the most effective and sensitive way. I think one way is to uh, spend some money on enlarging our embassies in other countries so the services they could provide to people that want to migrate or find seek asylum, more services can be provided at the embassy rather than having them trek through a very dangerous journey with little kids and women and older folks to go through a Mexico, deal with coyotes and cartels and things like that.
Certainly. Very well said, Mr. Brad. But before we wrap up or sum up our discussion for tonight, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, Food 101 in its fifth season, People fifth season, with Chef Alessandro, one of the specialty chef in one of the five-star hotel in downtown Toronto. Please do listen to our latest episode. We are reading our letter senders all over the world. So please do listen Food 101 wherever you will listen your podcast. So Mr. Brad, what lasting message does Finding Eden leave about hope, resilience, and the human need for safety?
Well, I think those three characteristics are really the whole purpose of Finding Eden. It's to increase awareness of the plight of migrants today, and it's to send a message to nations to start thinking about what they can do uh, to uh, to make that journey safer for those folks and to find them a safe homeland. Remember, you can pick up this book and download it. It's in on Amazon, very
Yes.
easy to find, or through my website, braddude.com. It's a very easy way to find all of my books. And it's a paperback version as well as the ebook. And I even have a audio version of the book as well, all available to your listeners. And I hope they leave a review for me as well. I always like to get the comments, and I've got over 100 reviews so far, and they've been very enlightening as people are touched by the humanity of the story of Finding Eden.
Mr. Bradford, looking forward for more and more empowering books like this. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. And I hope it will become a series or a motion picture. So, Mr. Brad, can you please invite our listeners to support all your books?
Yeah, please do. I have now 7 books on Amazon, braddude.com. Take a look. I even have a free quiz for the listeners to take as well to give them some ideas about their leadership. So thank you,
Yes.
Daniel, very much.
You are most welcome to come back, Mr. Brad, to talk about all your books on Book 101 Review because this podcast is created for you, all the authors, writers all over the world. So please do listen for my second episode for my feature author of the month, Miss Angela Henry, tomorrow at 3 p.m. PST. She is my award winning and best selling feature author of the month of March. So please do listen and tune in for our live episode tomorrow. So, Mr. Brad, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon.